Hi, love. So, today I would like to have a confidence boost day and reveal the way for you to boost your confidence. But why do I say you? See, confidence is solely based on our own perception of self and not so much on external factors, even if some of you may think otherwise. For example, there can be an incredibly successful and beautiful woman completely lacking in confidence as she uses her material possessions and achievements or looks to feel significant, but not rely on her gut and sense of self to navigate her emotions, especially in moments where she gets rejected. On the other hand, there can be a woman who is not as attractive and doesn't have any remarkable successes. She may not even be that intellectual, but internally she feels deeply connected to her values, who she is, and what she wants. So she exudes great amounts of confidence. To the outside, it may look like a mystery, just like faith is, something we cannot touch, see, nor grasp until we embody it. So, confidence is not a matter of using and relying on things, people, or anything outside of us as crutches, but rather, confidence comes from having a strong and firm foundation in realistic self perception. It is easier said than achieved, especially since growing up, most of our perceptions about self have been greatly influenced by and molded through your caregivers and environment, which in most cases they also don't have a very self-aware perception of themselves, let alone someone else. In hindsight, our learned perception of self simply starts resembling the projections we have been placed on by others, which in truth and for the most part have nothing to do with who we truly are. And how do we recognize when we have a false self perception, which plays out as insecurities and feelings of inadequacy? We can recognize it when we feel emotionally unstable and unsettled in our body and mind. Our emotional state is the number one guide to our confidence. But in order to find emotionally sense of peace and grounding, we need to learn how to get there. We need to learn how to find that sense of self and awareness, that which rarely any of us are taught of. And learning, we all learn differently. Some people are more observational, while others can be more hands on learners. Third can be more artistic, while others are more practical. There are many ways for us to learn. The learning approach to confidence will depend on your own individual makeup. And here is where astrology comes in as a very handy tool of understanding what is your most useful and correct way for learning and processing all of the wide array of information surrounding you. But before I dive more into each sign, I would like to first give you an idea both from psychological but also astrological perspective how perceptions are formed. Perceptions and beliefs about the self which impact your confidence. Since only one who is aware of who they are and believe in themselves regardless of any other life events, status, or circumstances can truly walk through life with confidence and navigate through both the challenges while having the ability to find the joy amidst all. Our emotional compass and the connection we have to our intuition is that which empowers our state of awareness. But that which clouds our intuition or emotional state of being in touch, rather than feeling emotionally tormented, are the conscious beliefs we have learned or adopted growing up, especially the beliefs which hold no value of experiencing the joy in curiosity. And quite honestly, most of us have been mindful for a significant amount of our time here before starting to notice that something must be incredibly wrong. And how do we get mindful? When we are being played with our emotions. Let's say you were a child and you felt angry, but instead of being taught how to navigate that anger, you are told to shut it. So then you start believing that repressing it is what is the right behavior. But now you can no longer access that part of you to trust yourself. That when you actually feel angry, it is because in some way or another you feel threatened. Your sense of security is being threatened. So all that anger is doing in that moment was to protect you. And so over time, you start losing your emotional self-protective mechanism, which fuels more your defenses, doubts, and fears, now left remaining to orbit your consciousness. Or even later as a teenager or young adult, let's say you fall in love with someone and they lead you on in believing they have deeper intentions for you, possibly say they love you back. But at the first instance of an obstacle or discomfort, you're there left questioning that love. Since suddenly they cannot commit to walking through that challenge with you. And if their fear is greater than their love, then their true intentions start to show. But you don't know that until you're faced with that experience. You were told and made believe otherwise. You are not informed with where they truly stand in their relation to you. So now all of these questions are left lingering, challenging your perception of reality and truth, tormenting your soul for all of the time that you have invested believing in their words, while in actuality you don't belong in their reality, or not to that same extent of significance. And that starts feeling emotionally unsettling, as emotions only settle down in the place where they feel you belong. And this emotional settlement, caused by the void of synchronicity of words and the actions of the other, it starts to hurt. It hurts deeply, and it causes very deep pain. Pain that makes you question and doubt your own intuition and feelings, because that's what pain does. It distorts our perceived reality until we find peace in the only thing that is real, which is love. But love is exactly that. It brings you peace, emotional peace, but it also takes you out of your comfort pain. Love, intuition, they're demanding and uncomfortable, yet they are also freeing you from the comfort of living in fantasy. Because when we are in pain and we do not seek the purpose of being in love and loving someone, then we look for a soothing escape. And the fastest soothing escape for the mind is to create a fantasy. Fantasy is comforting. It is easy to run away to because there is no pressure there. There is no urgency. It doesn't ask anything of you. It doesn't want you to grow in any kind of way. Fantasies are self-serving. Fantasy creates wishful thinking. And the moment you come back down and face reality and do not see it play out anywhere around you, you start running right back to the fantasy. And this ongoing cycle can literally spiral you down in creating your most painful living existence here on earth. It is exactly what religious institutions have done for years. Made you believe and hope that God is there and will come to save you from your pain. And then suddenly, one day, 50 years later, no savior has arrived, and by that time, you're already there lying down wasted on the couch, complaining from your wife and kids again, and how shitty the government is, with high blood pressure and no desire to wake up the next morning and go to your shitty job again, just waiting for the time to pass by until the day you die. And since God is the Savior, you will keep on waiting for Him to come. And in the meantime, let's blame everyone else for our hopeless and painful experience. And this is the reality we lived in for many, many years. So, all that we have gotten now from this perception of hope and waiting for something meant to happen, someone to come and save you, to miraculously appear. Meanwhile, you soothe yourself in your fantasy. All we got is broken expectations, hopes, dreams, mental illnesses, and deprivation of love. You can still hope and dream, but who are you waiting on and what for? We have all waited for what? Nothing. One big void. And once we start replacing the waiting with learning, we come to realize that the Savior does exists within you. And that's when you begin getting in touch with your intuition, with your soul. When you do that through learning, you start gaining the confidence you need. That the Savior does exist and already lives within you. And He is demanding and asking you to step up your game, to have courage, patience, and to believe. And you may want to run away in the fantasy again and not confront your intuition, but you can't. You can run away from any shitty or uncomfortable life experience and interaction through your fantasy. But you cannot run away from that which lives within you. Because when you try to, every time it is going to start bugging you from within until you start learning and listening. It's annoying, I know. And it will not leave you alone and show up as very intense emotions pressing you to pay attention to them. Of course, if you choose to reject or ignore them, your mind, your perceptions, your beliefs will be challenged, and you will suffer and feel mental pressure and unbearable headache. It's what we normally call triggers. Because when your intuition speaks, it only speaks through discomfort. It triggers you. The intuition or your soul urges do not feel comfortable. They are challenging. Challenging because it asks you to act, to move, to create, or it won't let you go and set your mind free, nor give you any sense of peace until you do something about it. In this way, it is you and only you who is indeed creating your own reality. Reality formed through your perceptions. Perceptions which are constantly going to be challenged until you are confident in the truth about you. And when they're true, that confidence gives you a feeling of inner peace. The peace found when your mind and body and emotions merge and find the harmony within you. Even if your whole world is falling apart, people are leaving you, you feel rooted and grounded and connected to your experience because you know the reality that lives in you. The reality that you choose to perceive in a way that exists is to make you grow or suffer. And when you start perceiving the discomfort as an opportunity to grow, you start challenging your perception and you unlock your creator. I mean, if there is one law I would preach about, it's not the law of attraction, but rather the law of creation. Because we attract and experience that which we create. And we create based on what we perceive. And our perceptions are formed based on how confident And here you can replace confident by connected. You feel to your truth, to your intuition. Your truth lives in your soul. And your soul is who you are in essence. So that which lives in essence creates that which you attract. When your intuition is clouded by the beliefs constructed of your mind, you attract exactly that. Limited perceptions that only live in your consciousness. But there is this other side, the unconscious mind, with unlimited possibilities to create from. But to reach that, you first need to hear your intuition, which, when it is clear, it draws from the pool of information living in the unconscious. And intuitive clarity only comes through finding emotional stability. And emotional stability you achieve when you stop hoping and start learning. Learning that it is you who creates the war or the beauty you see, as it is simply just a reflection of that which already lives within you. So everything you see in you, in another, in life is only that which you have created the space to live and accept within yourself. So the law of creation would state that you want love, create it. See it within you. You want a relationship? Create the space to relate. You want wealth? Create the value within you. Create it so you attract the one to give to, that which you already lives within you. Because you would only attract that which you have something to give to. Nothing in life is for free. So you want something, start by creating your offer. But if you don't see what you have to give, how do you want life to give you the experience to match your offer? If you only see yourself as matter, you will get body for money and money for bodies. But if you want health, you need to give faith. If you want love, you need to give passion. If you want freedom, you need to give love. Otherwise, how do you want to be healthy and heal when you do not have faith in life? How do you want to attract love when you're not passionate about something or someone in your life? How do you want to be free when you have no love to give? The law of creation is about us choosing to be here to serve and give, so we can attract that which we want. Creation is about choosing to be here to serve and give. So to attract that which you want, give all that you got. And many times we're not confident in ourselves because we are truly unaware of what we have to give and offer, especially not beyond what we see on the table in front of us, as our conscious perception is very limited. So again, gaining confidence only becomes available through learning. But as I promised, to add in the psychological perspective to give you understanding on how it ties into the language of astrology and how this information can serve you, I will use Freud's iceberg analysis of the construction of the mind. And yes, this can be a very long video, so I'll try my best to synthesize how our perceptions are formed and how they can evolve through our own path in learning. Because one's experience of life is the creation of his own perception, and the perception is formed by the three truths to knowledge. Knowledge that is not only intellectual, but an intellect grounded in wisdom. It's only when intellect meets wisdom, it can be of service. So we have the existence of our conscious mind. In astrology, that is shown by our Mercury placement. We have the subconscious mind, which in astrology is represented by the place. And then there is the unconscious mind, which in astrology is represented by our Jupiter placement. Again, this is very brief overview and there is a lot more that goes into it. But we need to start with the basic understanding to navigate through the information and resource that lives within us, that we can see in our natal charts. Because only tapping into that resource, we gain true confidence. So, the consciousness lives in the head. It is least reliable and informed because it is constantly gathering information and learning. It is the least reliable source of finding the truth. It only stores the information we have become aware of consciously. So it is like a child, learning and growing with time. And here's where we're going to look at the ways appropriate for us to learn. So that child starts feeling confident and happy with what it is learning, with its learning curriculum. Otherwise, when you get stuck here, it can be a child's biggest nightmare. Especially those who are constantly in their head can easily live in fantasy from experiencing so much mental pressure due to their inability to process this overwhelming information and to sort it through. And this is very commonly and especially seen in men. Men can be very susceptible to this because over the ages, men haven't been taught, encouraged, and in some cases even allowed to connect to their emotions rather than react to them or bottle them up. That's a whole another long topic for another time. Then we have the subconscious mind, which is represented by the moon, which I already made a video on titled Satisfy My Needs, where I speak about what we subconsciously need to find emotional harmony and stability. The subconscious mind, it's us, it's the soul, our essence, our intuition, our gut feeling. It is that which feels uncomfortable listening to, because ultimately it is the one looking to save us from the pain, to save us from the mental entrapment and fantasy escape, from the imprisonment and stagnation of the head. So that instinct, that subconscious mind lives in the body. It's felt in the gut. It's the door to creation. Creation that is a process done from a state of connection to the truth, which reconciles beliefs and thoughts tormenting the mind and helps to restore the balance between them by challenging them through learning. And so the more you become adaptable in learning, the more the mind feels confident in what it knows in each moment in time. So it can be in a state or place of peace. And then we have Jupiter, in particular Jupiter retrograde, which signifies our inner beliefs about the self, others, and life that affect the joy we find in our perceptions. And this is the unconscious mind. I picture it living in the feet, representing the beliefs we step on, the beliefs we find happiness and rooting in. Or not. If our beliefs do not bring us joy, then we tend to escape them through fantasy again. So the only connection for grounding is in finding joy in our beliefs. But that joy we discover when our subconscious mind is in equilibrium. Because there are many beliefs and opportunities to choose from. Some can be misleading. Others may not serve us. Like to believe you want to be a runway model, but you're only 5'2". And your consciousness knows that. Let's say that you need to be at least 5'8" to be a runway model. But somehow you believe that's where you're called to be. And who even knows where that belief or that calling came from? Maybe you had a session on mushrooms and suddenly that appeared to you. Meanwhile, Your soul desires just to be a model. And it is at peace even as having the experience of being a print model, where your height is of no significance. So now the distortion of beliefs and knowledge can only find grounding in hearing your intuition, in seeing the truth of what in reality gives you a sense of peace and inner harmony. So there needs to be a limit or a center that is true, the one we feel at peace with. And ultimately, that's where we strive to arrive at through learning, to find that inner equilibrium that exudes confidence. And you can go on my Patreon site to get the full video where I speak about each topic in more depth and how I go over each sign individually. And this video about confidence and in your individual approach to learning will be available there very soon, so check it out. But for now, I'm gonna leave you with this. A wave cannot merge with the sea unless the sea is calm. The unconscious waves of thoughts can only merge with the sea of faith and belief when we find stillness, emotional stillness. And stillness we find in the place we belong. But a place cannot be anything of matter, because all matter on earth never stays still forever. That which remains for eternity is the soul. So the only place where you can find you belong is in the soul. But one forever remains blind to it unless seeing it through the eyes of love. So when you ask for love, you only ask to see yourself. But when you give love, you see where you belong. So when one cannot find a place where he belongs, is simply one who cannot see the love in him to give. True confidence is found when you see the love within yourself to give and to offer. And the highest form of love one can give another is faith, that you stand by, not just by words or actions, but stand by with all you got. Thank you everyone for watching. Subscribe, like, share, boost it up, and I'll see you, or you will see me in the next time. Bye.